guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we are doing some more Christmas book reviews. Alright, so I'm not completely sure when this is going up. We will see. This is kind of like a backup video. I wanted to do some more book reviews. I'm combining two books in this, so that's going to be interesting, but if I fail to film a certain BOOKMAS video, then it might be one of my BOOKMAS days. If not, it might come up a little bit right after Christmas. So yeah, we'll just get into it. So today I'm going to be reviewing two books, and the first one I'm going to go over is I'll Be Married for Christmas. This is by Claire Kane. This is a sweet romantic comedy. It is a military romance, and this author is clean, closed-door writer. She doesn't write spice in her books, so very appreciative of that. But we're going to get into this one. So this one follows our two main characters who, what is his name? His name is Justice and Grace. Justice and Grace, I believe. So basically, this has a little bit of like a meddling mother trope in it, if that's a trope. Is that a trope? I'm going to call it a trope, guys, and if it's not, we're going to make it a trope. So, meddling mother trope, and the mother basically tries to set these two up. He is having some difficulty with work, which not all of this is very accurate, by the way, but he's having some difficulty with work and just them seeing him as like stable and whatever, because he's not married. He's never been, you know, in a long-term relationship, which is not at all what I've seen with the military, no offense, but they would rather you not have families. But that's the whole premise, is that, oh, he's been told under the, you know, radar that if he had a wife, he might be a lot, you know, it might help his chances a lot more to get this big promotion. So his mom kind of meddles and tries to get these two to get married for his promotion's sake, and she just got back from overseas and doesn't have a place to live. Her parents sold their house and is going on a cruise, so she's just like up and ended, has no idea what she's gonna do. And so she tries to set them up to, you know, have this fake, you know, marriage of convenience, basically, is the main trope. They were neighbors. This is a little bit similar to the novella I reviewed, and the fact that they were neighbors and they're also age gap. I think these ones are a little bit more age gap than the other two. I think they're 6 years apart. So there wasn't nearly as much interaction as kids, even though they were neighbors. Basically, he just stopped some of the neighborhood kids who were like really nasty bullies to her when she was younger. He just kind of like helped her out and stopped them when they were trying to bully her. That's like the most interaction that it really shows them having most of the time. So there's kind of this back and forth on, are we like strangers, or do I know this man? Is he a stranger, or do I know this man? Honestly, that to me was a little bit annoying. Just wasn't my thing. I was like, just pick whether it's like a friends to lovers, you know, like a, you know, later thing, or if it's not, because it was so weird how she made it like they were, but then they weren't. I don't know. It's like she was trying to do the trope with not doing the trope, and it just didn't completely work for me personally. All in all, though, I didn't hate this book. I believe I gave it a 3.75 stars, so I still liked it. I liked her writing pretty well. There was something about it that I felt like if it had the right tropes, if it had like the right setting and the right characters for my liking, she might be able to like give me a 5-star, you know, like it kind of gave me those vibes. She has a whole series that's on veteran romances, and I kind of think I might like that better, because I just don't like some of the stuff she wrote about common military. She sounds like she's living a dream with what she thinks the military is like, but personally I've not lived that and haven't heard of many people who have. So yeah, I don't know. There was a lot about like single soldiers being like jerked around more, and I'm a military spouse and I've never seen a single soldier have to like lift his finger to do anything. Since we've been in, like, it's always the men with families and little kids at home that get pulled away to do stuff, even though there's a bunch of singles who are in the barracks not doing anything. So to me, I'm kind of like, you don't have a family to support and you live in the barracks, you're not doing anything, you don't have anybody. Yeah, you should be taken away for, you know, something instead of a dad being taken away for his child's birthday. Like, yeah, you should. You don't have a family to support. I kind of just think that's, you know, but the military, I have never seen them care about that at all. They seem to think that the singles can go out and party while the family men needs to go out and do all the singles work. So that's just me personally. So there were a few things just military wise that I didn't like about the story. Although she does, like, you know, put a disclaimer and everything that this is largely fiction and, you know, there's some things that she made up and, you know, all this stuff. But she did come out with a second one in this series about her friend and his commanding officer, I think. His commanding something. Also having a marriage of convenience, which I think is very humorous. Like, why would you need two within the same? But those characters I just felt like were a little bit more up my alley and interesting. They're more of a sunshine grumpy romance like dynamic, and I don't know, just from reading them I thought it would be really, I was more interested to read that one, so I almost might like that one more. We'll see if I check it out or not. I'm not upset that I bought this. It's literally like the cutest cover, even though the book only gets 3.75 stars. The cover gets a 5 stars, so from me. But I do want to read more by her. She's pretty clean. I don't remember anything in particular. Like I said, it's like marriage of convenience, and there's this weird stranger or do I know him thing going on. So it honestly takes a really long time to pick up and for there to be any real romance, which I think was also kind of like slid it down for me some, because there just wasn't a lot of it. And he's a very like, he hasn't had a lot of romantic involvement at all, and he's an army guy, and he's just not a very romantic guy. So it takes him a lot of time to just even like try or show any. So it's not like, if you're really into like seeing and, you know, seeing the characters together and all this romantic stuff and romantic gestures and all this stuff, this is probably not the book for you, because there's just not a lot of it in here. And so that personally, I think that personally also brought my rating down a little bit, because I like to see my couples a little bit more, and I like to like be able to see it on page, them starting to like each other, and like, yeah, and seeing the feelings come alive on page. And I feel like we saw that only a little bit, not as much as I wanted to. So that's personally the thoughts I had on this book. On to the second book, we have Baggage Claim by Juliana Smith. This is Christmassy, wintry book. It does all take place over like 2-week span of the holidays. Basically, in this one, Olive gets tricked into coming back home for Christmas. And she lives in Florida currently, but her family lives in Aspen, Colorado, where she grew up. And so she gets tricked into flying back home, and she's really anxious about going back home because she hasn't been back home for like, I think it's 3 or so years. When something really big happened, she just walked out and never, you know, it's never been back. And it really big family drama. And she ends up sitting next to our main protagonist, and that is Finn. Main male protagonist, Finn. And her and Finn, I don't know, it's a bit of a like, she doesn't want to talk to him, but eventually, you know, the nerves come in and they start drinking, and she starts blurting out all types of things. And she apparently told her family that she was bringing home a boyfriend so that they wouldn't be so worried about her. And he's like, oh, I'll be your fake boyfriend. She doesn't take him up on it right then, but clearly, you know, it's a fake dating thing. So I won't explain too much more of the plot, but it was good. I enjoyed it. There is more. I will say this is classified as closed door. I don't know if I would classify it as closed door. There is one thing, and it is not even with the couple in this book, but it is a flashback of something happening in the past with somebody else that, while very brief and not very like descriptive, was still written out to where you could visually, you know, see it. And I felt like that's still like a sex scene. Like, if what you say is enough to know what they're doing to me, it's written down and you can still picture that in your head. I really didn't appreciate that. So, and that was Okay, that was on chapter 34. So, and the only thing is, while I would say, oh, you can skip that chapter, is that it kind of tells the whole big family drama thing that she left. Now, I will say that this was pretty dang predictable. I myself guessed it pretty much right away. And I've seen many other people who guessed it right away. So if you're reading it and you're thinking something and you're like, I really don't want to read that scene, just know that you're probably right on what happened, because it's pretty dang obvious. And it's awful. It's an awful, disgusting thing that happens. But yeah, I don't know. I don't understand how that got in there and she still gets away with calling it closed door. I don't know. Because I mean, everything else, there are some sexual innuendos. There's a couple of cuss words here and there. It's nothing like extreme to me, but there are a few different ones sprinkled throughout. And then there are like sexual innuendos and some other stuff, but it's nothing super intense or like insanely descriptive, but there's that one part. And so I was just like, well, isn't that considered? To me, I feel like that is. So that brought down the rating a little bit for me. Along with the fact that the awful thing that happened, I don't know. It wasn't like everybody in her family was saying that she should just be fine and everything, because obviously this was an awful thing that happened to her. But it was so weird when her mother was talking to her about it. She said the stupidest thing ever. And this one line, I swear, brought down like a whole like quarter star for me, because I rate by quarter stars. This one line, and her mother says, love knows no right or wrong. And I was like, are you freaking insane, woman? Lust knows no right or wrong, okay? Pick up your Bible if you want to know what love is, because oh my goodness, that is so wrong. And that line drove me crazy. If this book didn't have that line and didn't have that one little scene, like you could have told it without having the scene quite like that, it would have been so much higher of a book for me. But enough about that. Honestly, Finn and Olive are really cute together. I liked their dynamic. Finn is a little bit of a like egotistical macho man, which, you know, I didn't care for too much, but I kind of liked how Olive wasn't as swayed by his, you know, looks and everything. Like he seemed like every other girl is or something. So it actually made him kind of insecure and like work for things. And I don't know, it was just kind of like cute to see like, ha, you're not so macho, are you? Like kind of like that whole every guy becomes a dope when he finds the one and everything, and he doesn't really have, yeah, as much of an ego and stuff like that when it comes to the one. And so, yeah, I did like it, and I liked a lot of things about it, and I'm not completely against checking out this author in the future, but yeah, I just wanted to warn about that one little scene. But I ended up giving this a 4-star. With the cussing and stuff and the little bit of sexual innuendos, I was like, okay, but this is not, you know, it's not crossing the line. It's not that bad. And like I said, these last few things were kind of like at the very last little quarter of the book. So with those things, I was honestly thinking more of a 4.5, because there were things I really liked about it. I also think one of the reasons that I really liked it was because a lot of the things that Finn was taking her out to do, because he was kind of making like a 12 Days of Christmas thing for her. A lot of things that they were doing together reminded me of things me and my husband did when we dated. So I had like a lot of reminiscing on that time through this book. And I think that's also what was keeping it so high for me. But it was definitely like sitting at a 4.5. And then when that scene happened and it was more descriptive than I thought it was going to be, and then her mother said that thing about love, I was like, oh no, it's going down to a 4. Like it's yeah, I can't rate it above a 4 with that. So I've stayed at a 4. Those are your warnings. There is, you know, a bit more tension in this book and stuff, since it does have some sexual innuendos and stuff like that. There's just generally more, the main character is a very big flirt, and there's a little bit more tension. So yeah, but it is a fake dating trope over the holidays, and I don't even know what else to say about it. Like, is there any other tropes? I don't know. He's a ski instructor for kids. And she's a podcast editor. So if any of that sounds interesting, you might want to check it out. It's a pretty good book. So yeah, so 4 stars and a 3.75 stars. So not too bad. Honestly, I haven't had any holiday reads that have been like bad so far when I'm filming this, but hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video.